What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship. We're taking another patron request today. That patron request is a little bit of homebrew. Today we're talking about the chief Slavic god, Peruna, at the request, of course, of the Black Dragon disciple who built him, Joseph Harvilla. If you have any requests for this series, throw them in the comments, we'll get right on them. And while we're at it, this episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship was brought to you by the man who requested it, Joseph Harvilla. Joe, thank you for your time and support. If you guys haven't been watching A House Divided, you should, because Joe's actually GMing that game, and I'm playing a paladin who worships the very god we're about to talk about. Speaking of talking about him, let's dive in. In Slavic pagan mythology, Peruna is the highest god of the pantheon, the god of thunder and lightning, not unlike Zeus in Greek mythology. He's also known with his associations to mountains, fire, the eagle, the oak, weapons, specifically the axe and golden arrows, and of course war. Peruna is described as a strong, muscular, rugged man with a golden copper beard. He rides in a fiery chariot pulled by a goat and wields a mighty axe. The axe in battle is hurled at the wicked and will always return to Peruna's hand. In Slavic mythology, Peruna was a ruler of the living world. Much like in Norse and Baltic mythologies, the world in Slavic mythology was represented by a sacred tree, usually an oak, whose branches and trunk represented the living world, while its roots represented the underworld. Peruna was a ruler of the living world, often symbolized by an eagle sitting on top of the tallest branch of a tree, from which he would keep watch over the entire world. Down in the roots of this tree was the place of his enemy, symbolized by a serpent or dragon, this being the Slavic god Veles, the watery god of the underworld. Veles constantly provokes Peruna by stealing his cattle, children, or wife. Peruna pursued Veles around the earth, attacking him with lightning. Veles fled from him by transforming into various animals, or hiding behind trees, houses, or people even, wherever a lightning bolt struck. It was believed this was because Veles hid from Peruna under or behind that particular place. Now, of course, Peruna doesn't exist in Pathfinder, at least before this video, but the precedent to bring him into Pathfinder is certainly there. On Golarion, the ancient Assyrian pantheon worshipped the ancient Egyptian deities. All the H.P. Lovecraft spooky yukis have made their way over, and also look up Lamashtu. Real quick, just type Lamashtu into Google. See if you get the Pathfinder goddess or the Mesopotamian one. The point is, Earth gods exist in Pathfinder. Therefore, gods like Peruna certainly have a place on Golarion. I could very easily see Peruna being worshipped in the lands of the Lenorm kings, Irisin, the realm of the Mammoth lords, anywhere in northern Avestan, where the Ulfin or Kelids live. Peruna slots right in. Peruna is lawful neutral. His domains are good, glory, law, war, and air, with the subdomains honor, heroism, lightning, and archon. His favored weapon is the great axe, and his symbol, lightning marks on an axe head. To perform Peruna's deific obedience, collect ash from a fire started by a lightning strike. The next time there is a thunderstorm, collect enough water from the rain that you can fill in your mouth, and then put a small amount of the ash you collected previously in the water and drink it. In return, you gain a +4 sacred bonus on saves against effects that deal electricity damage. Exalted boons grant us magic weapon 3 times a day, shocking grasp twice a day, or once a day wind wall. At 16th level, an amount of times equal to half your hit dice when wielding a weapon from the axe or bow weapon group. You may add 1d6 electric damage to an attack. The electric damage bypasses any resistance or immunities the target of the attack might have. At 20th level, your devotion to Peruna is so complete that his wisdom and anger guide your hands. When wielding a weapon from the axe or bow weapon group, your weapon bypasses any damage reduction. Sentinel boons grant us bless 3 times a day, communal protection from evil twice a day, or once a day prayer. At 16th level, you see yourself as the leader of the community. You gain a +4 to diplomacy and intimidate checks. At 20th level, as the leader of the community, you are charged with the protection and health of the people you assume command over. Any healing spell or ability used by you heals double the normal amount. Evangelist boons grant us aggressive thundercloud 3 times a day, ball lightning twice a day or once a day, Call Lightning Storm. At 16th level, the power of Perun'S mastery over lightning flows through your veins. Any spell you cast that would deal electricity damage is treated as though it were empowered. This does not change the level of the spell, like the Empower spell metamagic feat. At 20th level, once per day as a full round action, you can make an attack with a bow. If the attack hits, the target becomes the center of a Storm of Vengeance spell with a caster level equal to your hit dice. You do not need to concentrate to maintain the effects, and you or your allies are not affected by the Storm of Vengeance in any way. And of course, because Peruna is lawful neutral, we've got a paladin code for him. It reads as such: "My first allegiance is to those beneath me. I will ensure that they are safe and taken care of. At any sign of danger, I am the first to rally the warriors. I make sure that the weak and innocent are free from danger at any time. I go to any length to accomplish my goals. I respect the natural world and hold the oak tree and the thunderstorm, above all, in my heart." Now, I've never GM'd for a player who's worshipped this god, but I have played a character who has worshipped this god in, I'll say, 1.5 campaigns due to the nature of how A House Divided started. Originally, I think that character was more meant to worship Veles, given the fact that that character was a skinwalker who began play chaotic evil. But after some funny draws from the deck of many things, funny draws that specifically moved my alignment from chaotic evil to neutral evil, to chaotic evil again, to neutral evil again, and then to lawful neutral, led me to worship the Lord of Thunder and Lightning on a homebrew island on Galarion. As a player who worships this god, I'll say it kind of feels a little bit like you're worshipping a mixture of Abadar and Gazra. At least the way my GM has handled Peruna, there's a lot of, hey, you're not doing this right, or hey, you didn't think before you acted. And pretty much every boon I've received from Peruna has done some kind of electric damage. I also did spend some time with that character in the Great World Tree, participating in trials, being dead for the most part. But I was given a very powerful magic item from the GM, and hey, since this is 100% homebrew, let's include it here real quick. That item was the Axe of Peruna. It was a +4 great axe. Its crit range was 19 to 20 times 3, and on critical hits it would deal 4d10 electric damage. It would knock your opponents prone, stun them for a round, and stagger them for 1d6 +1 rounds, as lightning would lance out of the sky and strike the guy you critically hit in the dome. It was super powerful, and then it got broken at the literally last session of that game before it became A House Divided. But it was fun while it lasted, and hey, maybe you can hand it out to your players and you can get some use out of it. And by the way, if you'd like to see that character present day, follow this card right up here to be directed to A House Divided. Now, if I was GMing for a player who worshipped Peruna, I think I would run it pretty much the same way Joe has run it for me. It's like you're a paladin god or a god of civilization mixed a little bit with the natural world. You care about the world around you, you care about the betterment of the people under you and civilization as a whole, but you also revere the oak tree, you also revere the thunderstorm. It's a really good marriage of the Iomedes and Abadars, with gods like Gazra and Serenos, and hey, right there's an Imperial Lord that appears in Gallic mythology right around the same time Peruna does. So again, the precedent for bringing this dude into your world, if that world is Galarion or whatever setting it happens to be, certainly exists. I've enjoyed playing a character who worships the god a whole lot in the about year-ish that I have, and I definitely would recommend this god to you guys out there. But what do you guys think about Peruna? Or even, what do you think about homebrew gods in general? Would you use Peruna, or have you used gods like Odin or Thor from Earth mythology in your games? If so, if you've got the information for them, throw them in the comments below. We'll keep the conversation going. And since I have a troll who's about to become a paladin of Tyr, the Norse god, I might definitely need them in coming games. So yeah, by all means, guys, bring them to me. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. The next episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship, where we cover another god worshipped by a player in A House Divided. It's funny when the request line happens to sync up with the game line. The goddess of constructs and stuff, Bri, drops next Wednesday.